You can join a synagogue, but that's not enough. It's not a religious experience unless you actually participate in the services and go there and be part of it. And I could go on and on. Even a Torah by itself, buying it isn't enough. You have to read it. You have to parade around the synagogue with it. You have to dress it. There are various things that you do to give yourself a religious experience and to express your spirituality and your belonging to the religion. And these things that you have to do have a cost. That's the value of your time, right? The value of your time and effort has to compete with other things in your life. It has to compete with sports, with television, with reading a good book, with playing with your children, whatever, and with working, right? So the price of your time, the value of your time will affect which of these religious rituals or expressions are you going to choose to do in order to obtain religious expression. Now, the club good aspect of these things arises because you do this religion as a part of a Jewish group. The synagogue is an example of one community that you do some of these things in the synagogue with other Jews. You do some of them in your home with other family members. You participate in the Jewish community, and in a more fundamental sense, you do these things because you are a part of Am Yisrael, a part of the Jewish people. And this is the club aspect. Now, in the economics of clubs, the thing that makes the club good different from any other good is that it's not only something you have to self-produce with your own time and effort, but other people have to also be self-producing it with their time and effort, and how well they do it or how much they do it affects what you get out of it. The example that's usually given is singing a song in the synagogue service, right? If you're the only one singing the tune and everybody else is either just listening or mumbling, you get a certain experience out of it, right? Well, you're singing it, you get a certain satisfaction. But if the people next to you are also singing it, for the same time and effort on your part, you get more out of it. And if everybody in the room is singing it, and they're singing it with enthusiasm, then you have a completely different religious experience. Right? That's the essence of a club good. What they do affects the value of what you do. Okay? Now, this leads to bandwagon effects, so that you want to join a group that is active and enthusiastic because that gives you more value for your effort. But it also gives us reverse bandwagon effects. If everybody else is kind of iffy, it's not as valuable for you to spend your time doing it, and so you're less likely to do it. Right? So these are important interactions here. Was there a question back there? Oh, I thought I saw a question. Yeah. Okay. So the value of time is important for the club good, not only your time, but the value of other people's time. And this is one of the reasons why people tend to join synagogues and communities, as well as other clubs, in which all the members have more or less the same value of time. There's less diversity in the value of time within a good group than there is in the general population. So people tend to join synagogues with other people at the same approximate economic level. It's not rigid, and some synagogues are larger than others, and the larger the synagogue, the more diversity you would find. But there is this tendency for groupings to occur in this way, and it's because people with high wages tend to prefer less time-intensive synagogue cultures. And people with low value of time may want to, are more comfortable indulging in time-intensive practices. Doesn't cost them as much. So we can think of the different streams of Judaism. And in the United States, these are very important. I mentioned Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, but that's not all there is, right? There's ultra-Orthodox is sort of, we lump together lots of different groups, but there's also now Reform has become, there's a formal Reform movement, but then there's a lot of splinter groups. There's the New Age, there's the, names are hard because each congregation claims it's post-denominational, it's non-denominational, but many of us think of that as all variants of Reform, but they're not all variants of Reform. Some of them are variants of Orthodox. And then there's the Reconstructionist movement that finally broke off from the conservative movement and is sometimes, even within these movements, synagogues have a big variety of practices. And these streams you can think of as each of them is an alternative production technology, as you will, where congregants can come together and make this thing that's called religion, religious expression. I keep seeing hands, and then by the time I'm ready to call you, they disappear. Yeah?
You talked about the club good as participating in some kind of activity.
Mm-hmm.
But how about belonging to the club? If you in some great holiday, if you have Yom Kippur and you want to be at an important synagogue, you will have to give
to buy a membership. That's right. Well, that's an aspect of economics of religion that I haven't really paid much attention to, but there is, whenever there's production, right? There's people will sell inputs, right? The synagogue can be thought of as like an input into your religious expression. And you have to pay a membership in the synagogue. Among Jews, you buy membership in the synagogue. Among some of the Christians vary a lot as to which different denominations support their clergy in different ways. Some of them have memberships, but more often they tithe, which is to say you have to donate X% of your income to the church. And it's charity, right? And the church runs on that. And so different religions have different traditions about how to support the institutions.
Talking about prestige, a man who benefits from being a clubman